Hello, and welcome back to the Lost Rides of Anna in Ireland. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at the two freakouts from Barry's Amusements, one of which operated from 2004 to 2006, and the other one which operated from 2007 to 2017. We have a lot to unpack, so let's get started. In the 1990s, KMG introduced the Afterburner as a competitor to the Huss Frisbee. The Afterburner consisted of a pendulum with 6 gondolas attached to the bottom. The Afterburner could swing to 120 degrees with a height of 22 meters. The ride could also be transported on 2 trailers, which made it unattractive to some smaller showmen. In response to this, in 2002, KMG introduced the Freakout. The Freakout could be transported on just one trailer and reached a max height of 13.1 meters, making it more attractive to smaller fairs and parks. Shortly afterwards, the first KMG Freakout was sold to the Otten family in the Netherlands and would be called Kickdown. In 2003, the first Freakout made its way to the UK for Funland Haying Island and would be called Tornado. Meanwhile, at Barry's Portrush, at the end of the 2001 season, Barry's had removed their Cannibal Pots ride. Yeah, we're not really going to talk much more about that name. For the 2002 season, there were just some small children's rides on the site. And then for the 2003 season, a temporary attraction called Jump Zone came in, but this was not designed to be permanent. Behind the scenes, Barry's was looking for a brand new ride to come in 2004. And in 2003, park manager Eddie Mason, along with the two Trefali sisters, went on a trip to England to go and look at some rides to buy. First of all, they were interested in buying the Eclipse wheel from Fort Park, but then they weren't really that interested as they didn't think it was that spectacular. On the way home, they stopped at Funland Haying Island to have a look at their old Cannibal Pots ride, and whilst they were there, they saw Tornado operating. After riding Tornado, and then afterwards having a talk with the park manager, who said it was a very good purchase, they went home and immediately placed an order for a KMG Freakout. The ride would feature the generic colours and the generic name of Freakouts around the time, which was, you guessed it, Freakout. The ride opened just in time for the 2004 season to huge fanfare. Park guests absolutely loved the attraction, and it quickly became one of the most famous rides in Northern Ireland. Everyone had heard of the Freakout, and it was seen as the hottest ride in Portrush, more so than the Big Dipper. The ride continued strong throughout 2005 and 2006, with in 2006 another KMG ride joining the lineup, this one being The Experience. Then, at the end of the 2006 season, Barry's sold Freakout. The ride had been sold to English showman Joe White and reopened in 2007 and travels across the UK. Despite this, it has made several appearances back in Ireland, one time in 2009 at Bundoran Adventure Park and one time in 2010 for Tramore Amusement Park. In 2007, a brand new ride came into Barry's Amusements to replace Freakout. It was another incredible ride that would offer similar views and similar thrills. It was the Freakout? Yes, a new Freakout came in for 2007. So basically, Barry's just sold their old Freakout and bought a new one that was completely identical to the previous one. The only difference was that the fences were changed. Whilst the old fences were yellow and purple, the new ones were silver grated. As a result, most people thought it was the same Freakout from the years prior, and the different fences were frankly not that noticeable. Freakout would continue operating for the next 10 years, dominating the West Strand skyline, and still being an iconic ride in Portrush. In 2017, the ride was now 10 years old, but then this was overshadowed by an incident that happened on the 1st of May 2017. On that day, at about 2:40 PM, the top of the ride during operation exploded. Oil then came spraying out of the top, covering riders and bystanders below. Many bystanders ran to take cover, fearing the ride could collapse. To make matters even worse, one part of the ride went flying into the Speedy Mouse station and almost hit the people on board. Luckily, the freakout was stopped very quickly and nobody was injured, and the incident did not escalate any further than that. On the same day, a Barry's Amusement spokesperson revealed what actually happened that day. What actually happened was, the top of the ride, a piece of greasing equipment, became dislodged, causing oil to spill everywhere and creating a loud bang which sounded like an explosion. The ride remained closed for a few days and then shortly afterwards reopened. Then the season continued as normal, but then Barry's Amusements was planning on removing the ride. At the end of 2017 and early 2018, it was confirmed that Freakout had been sold, but thankfully for most enthusiasts, the ride would not be travelling that far, only going down south to Irish showman Brian McGee. When the ride made its new debut in 2018, the only real difference was a new pay box and some of the Barry's Amusement signage removed. Then during the summer, it went to Tramore Amusement Park. Then for Halloween, it came back up to Northern Ireland and opened at the Monster Halloween Fun Fair at Ebrington Square in Derry. From then on, the ride made an annual appearance in Tramore, and it also did a few random visits to Bundoran, and then it also always did fairs in the off season. In October 2021, I managed to get on Freakout at the Monster Halloween Fun Fair in Derry, which was an amazing experience, and the cycle was absolutely amazing too, might I add. Unfortunately, not all good things last forever, and in July 2023, it was announced that Brian McGee's Freakout had been sold. The new owner for the ride would be Scottish showman Richie Wilmot of Wilmot's Attractions. Thankfully, it was announced that Freakout would be staying in Ireland until the end of the season, and it made its last ever appearance at Swords Halloween Fun Fair 2023. To add insult to injury, around that time, McFadden's Freakout was also announced to be getting sold, which meant that Ireland would have no KMG Freakouts left. After Swords ended, Wilmots collected up Freakout and took it back to Scotland. Thereafter, it was sent over to Holland to get work by KMG, where the restraints were repainted and other maintenance was done. The ride finally reopened in February 2024 at Newcastle Valentine's Fun Fair, and despite the fact that it left Portrush over 6 years ago, there's still Barry's Amusement signage on it. Also last year at the Barry's Amusements auction, 4 Freakout signs were sold at it too, that were part of the queue. I almost won one of them actually, but it would have been brilliant to have. And there we have it. Both of Barry's Freakouts are still going strong to this day in their new owners. Unfortunately, it is a shame not to have a KMG Freakout in Northern Ireland or Ireland, but thankfully we have Owen Curry's The Beast KMG Afterburner, and we also got our Czech Freakouts! Thank you so much for watching today's episode of the Lost Rides of Vienna in Ireland, and if you enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing, as it really does help out the channel. What ride would you like to see next? Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Is it? Oh thank God. Yeah. Is Philip still in? Did someone say stop slowing down? Yeah,